In March 2014, 6 history students from King Richard School, Portsmouth, Morgan Adams, Carrie Davies, Megan Gibson, Chantal Hayes, Oliver Martin and Peyton Owen, with their teacher Mrs Abigail Dedman, had the unique opportunity to work with Sue Wright from Portsmouth City Museum to use original documents, almost 100 years old, to piece together the story of 2 brothers from the city, both of whom lost their lives during the Great War of 1914 to 1918. Arthur Charles and Henry Cecil Hall lived in Portsmouth with their parents Albert and Emma Blanche and siblings Noah and Marion. Arthur Charles is referred to as being part of Old Contemptibles, men who had been part of the regular army when war broke out in 1914. He qualified for the Mons Medal and was recommended for the Distinguished Conduct Medal. Henry Cecil joined the Hampshire Regiment and became Lance Corporal attached to the Royal Warwicks. In 1916, he was promoted to Corporal on the field and went on to become Second Lieutenant in the 1st Hampshire Regiment. Here is the story of how one family from Portsmouth's lives were changed forever by the outbreak of war in August 1914, told through the letters and telegrams saved by their sister Marion.
October 1917. Mrs. E. B. Hall, 42 Finsbury Street, Portsmouth. Regret to inform you, 2nd Lieutenant H. C. Hall, Hampshire Regiment, reported missing October 4th. This does not necessarily mean he is either wounded or killed. Any further news wide immediately received. Secretary War Office. 10th of October 1917. 2nd Lieutenant H. C. Hall, Hampshire Regiment, now reported killed in action October 4th. The Army Council expressed their sympathy. Secretary War Office.
9th of October 1914. My dear Miss Hall, it is with the deepest regret that I have to write to inform you of the death of your son, 2nd Lieutenant Henry Cecil Hall, who was killed in action on the 4th of October. Although he had only been with us a very short time, yet he was already much loved by both officers and men. On the day in question, he did his duty nobly, gallantly leading his platoon forwards in the attack and had taken them over 1,000 yards before he was killed by a shell. I can assure you I feel his loss very much. He always did his work in the most thorough and painstaking manner, and I have great confidence in him. Although I regret at the time we were unable to recover his body, it being in a very exposed position, yet I feel sure that in a day or two they will be able to do so and will let us know. You will no doubt be pleased to hear that your sacrifice was not in vain, as the regiment did very well on that day, catching all their objectives and taking many prisoners. I can assure you we feel his loss much deeply, and on behalf of the whole battalion, I would like to offer you our sincerest sympathy in your very sad loss. Believe me, yours sincerely, F. Armitage, Commanding 1st Battalion, Hampshire Regiment.
7th November 1917. Dear Mother, just a few lines to tell you I'm keeping fairly well. I was more sorry than I can say to hear of Henry's death in action. This war has not done us much good, but all we can do is trust in God from day to day, as we don't know whose turn it may be next. By now you will have had news of our advance. I cannot give you particular, but the gunfire was quite equal to anything I've ever heard in France. It is still progressing, so you would have to excuse me, as for night after night, sleep has been very scarce. This job is a great worry, and I think I must have a rest soon, or break down. Your letter came on the first night of the attack, so you can guess how I felt. Well, I must now conclude, hoping you are all well. Cheer up, Mother, I know how you feel. I remain your loving son, Arthur. P.S. I will write more fully when we are a bit quieter. 4th of October 1918. Dear Mother, just a few lines to tell you I've just received your letters up to August 22nd. What did you think of the advance out here? We didn't get much of a look in as Johnny retreated right out of our range in about 90 minutes. The news tonight is that Bulgaria has given in and that Damascus has fallen. Good job on Brogue, or I think I should celebrate. I don't think it will last much longer out here. I hope not anyhow. The Christmas dinner at home wouldn't be bad. I have been rather bad lately with a touch of malaria, but am now better. Hoping you're all well at home. I remain your loving son, Arthur. Dear Mother, just a line to tell you it is my birthday today. I'm on leave from my battery and have had a very nice time. I joined my battery again last Thursday and went on leave the same day, so I did not lose much time, did I? I hope you are all keeping well. I'm at present and have lost my own appetite and found horses. I have met quite a good number of old chums down here, so they are not all killed yet. The usual greeting is, hello, where did you spring from? I thought you were dead. I have been recommended for the DCM. I don't know whether I'll get it or not. I hope I do, as if I stay on, it will mean an extra pension. I think I will be fed up before it is time for a pension. How are Uncle Charlie and Jim? Don't forget to remember me to Churcher and Nobby Clark, and let's hope they pass alright. I will now conclude with love from your loving son, Arthur.
Dear Mrs. Hall, it is with very deep regret that I have to inform you that your son, Fitter Staff Sergeant Arthur Charles Hall, died in hospital of pneumonia on the 28th of November. He had been in hospital for over a fortnight at Ludd, a few miles out from Jaffa. He received, I know, the very best attention, and the medical officer in charge told me that he made the most gallant fight against the disease. This is only what we should all have expected of him. Of no man can it be said that more truly that he gave his life for his country. It was obvious to us all that he had never really recovered from the effects of gas on the Western Front, but he could never be induced to take his duties lightly. The guns of the battery were, as you know, no doubt under his direct care, and he never tired in his duty towards them. As a result, during the whole course of the battery's career, we have never had a gun out of action when it was needed to fire. As his commanding officer, I should like to testify to my own personal sense of loss at his death. A sense of loss which is shared by the whole of his comrades in the battery. He is deeply regretted by all. You will of course receive an official particulars of his death and of his place of burial in due course, but in the meanwhile I desire to express my sincere sympathy and condolence with you in your great loss. Yours truly, W. Headley, Major.
The Commonwealth War Graves Commission website lists 2nd Lieutenant Henry Cecil Hall of the 1st Battalion of the Hampshire Regiment, date of death 4th of October 1917, aged 19. He has no known grave and is remembered on the Tyncott Memorial. Fitter Staff Sergeant Arthur Charles Hall of the Royal Garrison Artillery, 300th Siege Battery is also listed. Date of death 27th of November 1918, aged 22. He is buried at Ramley Military Cemetery near Jerusalem. The brothers are also remembered on the Southern Grammar School World War I memorial plaque, as well as on the cenotaph. We hope that you will remember the stories of Henry and Arthur Hall, as well as remembering the millions of others who sacrificed their lives fighting for their country. We must not forget that conflict did not end with the armistice in 1918. Wars are still being fought to this day, with men and women from this country and others doing their duty to protect us. would like to thank Sue Wright and Portsmouth City Museum, and also the World War I Remembrance Centre of Fort Whitley for making this film possible.